Hi there, it's Jenna from scribblinggrace.com. So I get asked all the time how to make roses in Journaling Bible. I use this type of rose in so many of my pages, like here and here, on this page, and I'm sure I have them in even more pages in my Journaling Bible. I use them all the time. I find that they are pretty easy flower to do. Is the first flower I learned how to do with watercolor, and I'm sure that you'll be able to do it as well. It just takes a little bit of practice. You can see even from this page here that I did a few months ago to this one and this one that I did more recently, I have improved a lot. So just keep at it, keep practicing, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make these roses on a blank sheet of paper, and then I will show you the process video to making this page here. And I hope you find it helpful. If you do watch this video all the way through and find it helpful, please subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and find me on Instagram or Facebook, and I'd love to hear from you. All right, let's go. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this on a piece of watercolor paper, which is going to react differently than a Bible page would. But I love to practice on watercolor paper or do other things on watercolor paper. It's really fun. And of course, these roses can be used on any surface that you want, really. So I have my paper, I have my Gansai Tambi watercolor set, a glass of water, and a size 12 round brush, but you could use any medium-sized round brush that you want. And to start off, I'm just going to wet my brush and pick up some paint. I'm going to get it pretty saturated. I'm just using this red color here. And all I'm going to do is draw a little C shape. And then I'm going to draw another C shape starting in the middle of that, going out. So that's my first step. Second step is, since this is going horizontal or vertically, I'm going to do my next two going horizontally. So I'm going to go around on this side, and I'm going to do 2 more petals. And I'm going to start about 1/4 of the way from this top petal and go down about halfway of that next petal. Figuring out where I'm going to start and stop is really just kind of intuition, practice that will help you figure that out, and I'm sure you'll get a hang of it after practicing a few times. And now I'm just going to go ahead and do that again, but I want to overlap a little bit. So I'm going to move my petal down at just a little bit different of a angle, just because, you know, your rose petals overlap at different spots and you want it to look somewhat realistic. So the way that I am doing this shape here is I want my ends to be tapered, so I apply very little pressure, and then I apply more pressure as I go out, and then release that pressure and get to be a small point again. Of course, you could also just manually go back and make it however big you want in that middle part. Okay, so that was my step 2. Now I'm going to do my third step, which is going to be a full circle, and I'm going to do 3 petals to make a full circle, and they're all going to overlap. So I'm going to wet my brush, just dip it in the water just so I get a little bit of that paint off, so my flower starts really dark and gets progressively lighter. I just think that adds more interest. It looks a little more realistic that way. And so I'm going to go ahead and start again about 1/4 of the way on one of my petals, and I'm going to apply very little pressure, a lot of pressure, and then little pressure, and I'm going to stop about 1/4 of the way on that petal. One thing that I am noting is that I'm keeping a little bit of that white space in between Otherwise, all my petals are just going to blur together and you won't have a super defined rose. But of course, the beauty of watercolor is that even if it bleeds or anything, it'll still look super pretty. And that's definitely a technique that you could do because you're your own artist. So be sure to play around with it and try new things. You can also see that my petal here isn't a perfect shape. It's a little heavier on this side than it is on that side, but I'm just going to keep it that way because I think it's a little fun to have imperfections. And so now I'm going to just keep going around in this circle and overlap. So I'm going to start about 1/4 of the way again, always 1/4 of the way pretty much, and then do another petal and overlap it with that petal right there. And then I'll just fix it to be the size that I want. And now for this last one, starting about 1/4 of the way from there, going to 1/4 of the way on this petal, I will show you how to do it if you aren't applying the pressure. So I'm just making my shape, tapering those edges. I'll make it a little wider. Pressure is also one of those things that just takes practice and time to get used to, so just keep trying. Here I'm just kind of connecting some of my petals just to make it look a little more, I don't know, uniformed, I guess. Okay, and now I'm going to dip my pen or my brush one more time in the water, just a quick dip. So a little bit less paint and it'll keep getting lighter. I'm going to do one more round. So as I get out, my petals are just going to get bigger and longer. And I'm just going to start again 1/4 of the way. I'm going to go around that petal there 1/4 of the way. And then overlap it. And then overlap it again. Now, I am not a professional watercolor artist, so if you are and you see this video and you're like, oh my gosh, she's totally messing this up, I apologize. I really only do this kind of stuff for my journaling Bible. I'm strictly a Bible journaler. So this is just my tip that I'm just sharing to you. So from here, I could either add more or I could just stop right here. And I think I'm just going to stop because I like this size. And I'll show you how to do a quick leaf. So I'm just going to pick up a green and I'm just going to draw a small little line going out so it's not completely touching my rose. And I'm going to apply very little pressure, a lot of pressure, and then release that so that I have a little point. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, leaving a little bit of white space in between on that leaf. If you don't want to try playing with pressure, you could just make your leaf shape and then fill that in. You don't have to apply the white space, but I just like that look. Remember that painting and watercolor and Bible journaling, it's all about your art. So you don't have to copy mine exactly. Yours will look differently because you have a different eye than I do. But just, you know, don't let it discourage you if yours looks different or you don't like the way it looks. Just keep practicing. Try new things, try blending your colors or try adding in different colors into your rose. There's so many variations that you can do, and I just encourage you not to hold back and try new things. I have a blog post that goes over this rose step by step. Again, if you weren't able to catch it on the video or I was going too fast or something, go ahead and check out my blog post and I'll put that link in the description below. All right, so now I will show you how I make these flowers in my journaling Bible.